We are Steve and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Steve and Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWit, and this is the Land Academy Show.
Today, this is episode number 2022, and today Jill and I are going to talk about the life cycle of a Land Academy member. Jill, where did this come from?
I was just going to say, you didn't like my idea? Last time I checked, we had a very lengthy, for lack of better terms, discussion this morning. I fixed my mic there, about what we're going to talk about today. And boy, this isn't it at all, but which is just fine. I'm a professional.
I don't know.
I use that term loosely. I'm a professional at something, I'm not really sure what.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a professional seller. I'm definitely a professional shopper.
This is good. What else are you?
Good.
Self-described. What else are you?
I am an amateur at picking men. Let me see here.
It's a little late.
Yeah.
You haven't figured this out by now.
No. Let me think here. No, I'm pretty good at picking men. I'm a professional man picker, shopper, salesperson. What are you very professional at?
I'm a data geek.
Oh, you are.
And a mediocre accountant.
I got some good things.
If
You are professional at perfecting our water situation,
That's
no matter
true.
where we are.
That's true.
Whether it's our home or on the road, you have water down pat. I don't think about that at all. Now, the other things, I don't know. Just kidding. But you're
What's
great
the
at that.
other
I'm
thing?
joking. You're professional at picking mountain wear.
So are you apparently
I
today.
know, apparently. So if you're watching this, I want you to notice we've been together all day. We went out to breakfast. I ran some errands, came back, sat down to record, and
we look like dingbats.
it's the first time I'm looking at what he's wearing and what I'm wearing, and we're a little too matchy. It's actually comical. If I had, I'm clearly not professional at details on this kind of a thing.
Jill has an outfit for everything.
That is true.
Everything. If
True.
I said we're going horseback riding,
Yep.
she would come back, go in the bedroom, and come back out. I'm not joking.
Yep.
Maybe 35, 45 seconds later with the whole outfit. I don't know where it comes from.
You could say
we're in an RV right now.
we're going skeet shooting with a chic, and I'd say I got this.
This is all true.
I have an outfit for that.
If you tuned in this week to learn about how to buy and sell land, I guess you're not going to learn that.
Sorry, but we will get to that. This is good. All right, so did you say what we're talking about today?
The life cycle of a Land Academy member. I
This is
thought
good.
people join Land Academy, they learn how to take 6 months, start to buy and sell some land, get a first deal done, get a second deal done, get 10 deals done, and they say, wow, Land Academy's awesome, and I'm going to be here forever, and thank you.
That's what everybody says.
I'll stop doing this when I make $6 million a month.
Right.
That's the life cycle of a Land Academy member. They join, they're happy, and they never leave.
That's it. And they're making $6 million a month, working 2 hours a week. That's it. All right, we're going to go into more detail. How about that? I broke it out into speeds, gear. I like when you relate to things. I can understand first gear, second gear. So I was thinking of it in that sense. So
Okay, good.
That'll be good for us to talk about. And my car happens to go up to 6th, so this will be fun.
Each week on the show, we answer a question from our Land Academy member Discord forum and take a deep dive into land-related topics by popular request from our Land Academy community. Jill, let's take a question.
Okay. Dalton wrote, "Hello, Land Academy family. I've been following this community for about 7 years. Oh, and I am in the position to finally jump in and take action."
Good for you.
That's so cool. Happy. Isn't that funny? People can say that. We've been around. We're going on year 10, everyone. This is crazy. Okay. Happy to take part of the community. Happy to be a part of the community. I've sent out my first mailer to a specific zip code, but I have a question in the trolling and the red, yellow, green phase. So in the training, it shows to pit zip codes against each other to find the best zip. But when I'm pulling the data from data tree, we always say pull and mail the entire county. Why is that? When I'm only picking those zip codes, when, maybe only one of those passes and has the best results from the red, yellow, green test. Why should we not just pull that one zip code from data tree since it was the best on the red, yellow, green test?
Dalton, this is an incredibly intelligent
Smart.
question, and I'm glad that you asked it. And I can tell, I'm going to answer it here in a second. I can tell if you're into this far, after 7 years of putting up with whatever Jill just talked about, or how she's dressed and skeet shooting with the shake, I can tell that you're going to do really, really well here. The level of this question is it's excellent. It's a master's degree level question. Here's the deal. When you pull a data set out of data tree, it is missing situs data. So situs data and mailer data in each line of data tree, each line represents one piece of property, is often very different. The situs address is where the heck is the thing located. The situs address for your house is 123 Main Street and whatever. For a vacant piece of land, it has not yet been assigned a situs address because nobody gets mail there. That's the post office assigns rural locations or property locations that are not in a master plan community upon request. So the vast majority of the rural vacant land that we buy, no address. So it's in the data that way, and it doesn't have a zip code. So what we do is we go through a conversion process where we take, for whatever reason, data tree has assigned it GPS codes, but not zip codes. So we translate that GPS data and assign it a zip code. The reason that we pull the entire county is so that once you get in there and you then put in all of those zip codes, you can very effectively pit those zip codes against each other, and 3 or 4 or 5 zip codes per county always rise to the top. And it's how the data says, oh, these 8 or 9 or 10 zip codes are fantastic. Or they pass the red, green, yellow test, let's say. What's the red, green, yellow test? How many days on market does zip code X have versus zip code Y? You could have a zip code that has real low days on market, let's say below 30, and you can have the zip code right adjacent to it that has days on market of 120. Why? We don't know, but that's what it is. You always want to lower days on market because when you buy it, it's a shorter time to sell it. So without getting into a credible amount of detail, which is probably too late for that, that's
Yep.
that's why I pull the whole county.
Yeah, because if you just sit and test it, you know what? Now, Dalton, you're in the club. So remember, you can sit and play with data tree all day long, and you're not going to get charged anything until you download any records. And then don't forget the first, however many, I can't remember what it is, are on first 1,000 every month are on me.
Right.
So play around with it, and you'll notice when you pull the whole county, look how many records there are, right? Let's just say there's 10 zip codes in this one county. You pull the whole county and it says 30,000 records. But if you go pull zip and zip and zip and add all up and it says 23,000 records. Yep, that's why. Because there's 7,000 that it doesn't have a zip, doesn't have the situs like you just said. And you have to go in, and that's part of what Jack does. He goes in and uses GPS coordinates to put the zip code in there because we know what it would be.
If you go in to data tree and type in a zip code, this is the state, this is the county, but I only want this zip code, the properties in this one zip code. You will be missing a substantial number of properties because it's blank or null. That field is null in that data set.
Mm-hmm.
So to get it, data's cheap. We want you to spend a lot of money on data and a very small amount on mail.
Right.
Mail's very expensive, and it causes, if you send out a very large mailer that has not been thought through correctly, then a lot of people are going to call you back. You're going to spend a lot of money on Pat Live when they answer the phone, and the mailer is going to be expensive. And that's not, you don't need to spend a ton of money to learn how to do this that way.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to really, and which is what you're doing here, ask a lot of questions and follow what we do, and it works.
Yep.
I love this question.
I do too.
Comes up in Career Path all the time, this exact question, because we go through it in what I think is a nauseating amount of detail, but everybody in Career Path loves it. So I wish I could do it for you on the screen right now.
We're good. It's all good.
You know what I'm good at? Along the lines of, I'm good at making your
Professional.
phone ring.
You are great.
professional
You are professional.
Joe phone ringer.
At making my phone ring. That is very true.
I can make pork chops really well.
That's true. All right, today's topic, the life cycle of a Land Academy member. So here's how I look at this. And there's beginner, intermediate, advanced. You could look at it like that. I was thinking it's kind of fun to break it down into even 5 gears. And as I
Not
write,
6.
well, or 6, 5 or 6, I put them all together. Let's do. I think it's going to be easier today. I'd like to talk ABC. Beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So this is fun too because this is how it typically goes. Typically, people don't spend as much time as Dalton doing their research, like 7 years to make a decision, but I get it. I understand. So, the new person, let's just say they spend an average of 6 months to a year. I think that's a good time. That's time to get your life together, wrap your head around, I really want to do this, and listen to our podcast for 6 months to a year, go, all right, not only am I getting it, I'm connecting with these people. I can learn from them because I understand what they're saying. I'm sure the first couple shows, if you have been listening to us for a while, probably the first couple shows didn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, what the heck are they talking about? You send out mail, they call you, you buy something, you sell it for double? Hold on. This is crazy. So, but after, 3 months, 6 months, it starts to sink in. And then you realize, after that point, you're like, not only is it sinking in, now you're thinking of, oh, now I'm getting these new things that they're tapping into. It's really, you're thinking ahead and kind of putting yourself in that position. So first gear is you dive in and you're here for, let's just say, a year to 2. Because some people, it takes them that long to really get rolling. Some people go bananas and they watch everything 3 times in one weekend, like that's all they do, and they go in a dark room. And some people take some a little bit of time, but part of even the prep before you get to first gear. I say first gear is when you join. So the prep of it, the warm up period, is what I was talking about first. Making sure that you're ready for this and it's what you want to do. You have the finances, your family's on board, all that good stuff. I'm happy to keep going unless you want to comment on my intro here.
I have some other
because I want to go on to the rest.
Names for it.
Okay.
Phase 1 or phase A, step A for Jill.
Beginner.
I would call this research and development.
That's 0.
Or proof of concept to yourself.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
So, proof of concept was our biggest challenge when we started Land Academy, to get members so that we could do deals with other people besides just Jill and I. And so that was, this doesn't work. What are you talking about? And then they would do it, and it worked great. And we've passed proof of concept for buying land and reselling it. We were the leaders in that, and introducing the entire internet to this concept. And since then, there's a lot of people that are involved in it. But
I love that you brought that up, though. That was
proof of
huge.
concept.
Does this really work? We're like, yes.
So I had to go through proof of concept when I started this.
For yourself.
Yeah, just to send out the first mailer and see if anybody responded, or if it happened, or if it's negative or positive, or it doesn't. Sending out a mailer back then for me doesn't look anything like what it looks like now. It was way different, and it was a huge learning curve. But I got a huge response, and I bought some property. So that was proof of concept enough for me, and then I was feeling my way through it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would call that step 1, wouldn't you? Step A, nobody's doing any deals yet, right?
I say that's the car in idle. It's you're warming up your engine, and then you put it in first gear, and you're like a beginner.
Okay.
You're moving on the. How's that? You're rolling. So that's the beginning of it. So, I like how you said that. That's true. So now, and for me, that's a year to 2. You have a couple of mailers under your belt. You gotta do several mailers. I love the other day. There was a couple weeks ago, someone on our we have our weekly Thursday member call, and somebody said, "I'm on my 8th first mailer."
Yeah.
I'm like, I love that. Because no matter what, you're going to make some changes. You're going to goof some things up. And sometimes you don't goof them up. I was talking to somebody the other day, like, you're going to you will send out an offer priced for 5 acres when it's really point 0.5. And guess what? It wasn't you. Someone in the county did a typo. So that's just going to happen. And we help you so you know how to recover from that. But anyway, so you got some mailers going. You're making some money, and you're starting to see the need for systems. That's what I think. You're doing everything wrong. You're running around like shuffling papers everywhere. Like the phone rings, and it's a title company, and they need another document, and you're not. You're still kind of like learning this. Like, I got this. I'll get it to you. Give me an hour. Click. And then the phone rings again, and now it's a seller, and you got to put that hat on. So this is all part of the beginning phase where you're just you feel like you know nothing, but you're doing it. You're doing deals. And if you do it right, you come up for air at 18 months and 2 years. You did what we said. You're like, okay, yes, I'm like drinking from the fire hose, but I kept the mailers going. If you do it right, and this is what a lot of people have done, you come up for air and you're like, huh, I didn't, where did that $250,000 come from in my bank account? And you go, oh, this is working. Now I can start to make some different decisions. And then for me, that's when you start going into, you know, third gear roughly.
Let's take a step back for a second. So
And you're an intermediate.
I'm going to be really frank with everybody listening. Imagine a pyramid, and so, or better yet, a funnel, like a funnel where you put oil in your car. The mouth of the funnel is very large. What actually, and it aggregates everything down to a finer point. This career that Jill and I have chosen, or maybe it chose us, I still can't tell, is a lifestyle now. We're out driving around in the RV. We have been for months now, and wherever we go, geez, the first thing I do is probably look up property values, see what's for sale, get on the motorcycle, go look at it. In fact, I would say, I would reach this far. Please correct me if you think I'm incorrect here at all. We probably spend together, either on something real estate related, more than half of our time.
Oh, definitely.
Probably closer to 70%, 75%.
It's unhealthy.
Yeah. So that's my point. So we're at the bottom of
It
that.
really is.
Bottom of that.
If anyone was following us around, if Dr. Phil or somebody's following around, like he would say there's something wrong with you too. But
Well,
at
you'd
least
say,
we
"Get a
both have
hobby."
it.
He would say, get a hobby, and we would say, this is
I
our
thought we
hobby.
had one.
Well, you need another hobby.
He would say, you are going to crash and burn
Yeah.
any day now. And we'd say, yeah, that's happened.
So we're at the bottom of that funnel, and so Jill and I, over the years, we've been doing this for almost 10 years. Land Academy have been accused of, you guys make this sound so easy. It is not. It's easy for us.
True.
And it's our lifestyle. It's our life. I don't know how we found each other, or if somebody was a bad influence on the other person. That doesn't matter. So probably that's all. Some version of all that is correct. But that's phase 2 that you're talking about. That 2 years. There are people on the other side of the camera here saying, 2 years. 2 years it's going to take before I'm out of second gear. I don't know if we messed around with the gear analogy.
It's okay.
To which I say, if you're serious about it, yeah. It's going to, and then believe me,
because there's going to be
realize whatever financial goal you have.
Come on, what is it? How many hours you need to perfect something? That's
10,000 hours.
Right, which is what, 5 years, I think.
Yeah.
So that ties into what I'm saying. 18 months to 2 years to really kind of get your footing here is not nuts. And you're doing it, this is what you do in the evenings and what you do on the weekends if you're working a day job like most people are, which I would argue is the right way to do this, by the way. I want you to keep your job and do all this stuff. So now you came up for air. It's 2 years. 2 years has passed. You're in Land Academy. You made friends. You know what other deals are. You know who's working that area and who's working this area. You've leaned on some people when you needed a photographer or a drone pilot. You have money in your bank account that you're not even sure how it got there because you weren't really paying attention. You were just head down like a machine, answering the phone and closing deals on the buy side and the sell side. And now you're like, oh, now I can make some different decisions. And for me, this is the best part. I love this part of all. Now you're like, okay, do I want to think I've had other, and maybe you use other people's money, right? That probably helped you get there too. Did some deal funding because you ran out of dough because you're doing everything right. So now you can go, maybe I do some funding for other people. Now maybe I look into different properties. Maybe I even look into, bigger property dollar amounts. All kinds of things are at your possibility. And this is to, should you want it, some people can do this naturally, and I
Mm-hmm.
applaud them.
Me too.
That's no problem for them. But other people do need help. So this is not a plug for Career Path, but this is how Career Path came to be. The reason we even developed Career Path way before the coaching, which just started, the personal coaching, because you guys have been begging for it, and I apologize it took us so long. But the way Career Path came to be, because we had enough people that are like, I need to go to the, this is my life level. I have 3 years of my income in the bank right now. I'm
Yeah.
going to quit my job.
Yeah. Bottom
A-
of the funnel.
and I need you guys to help me get these systems now in place. I've been running around doing it all by myself, and I did it. Now I want to source some things out and take this bigger. So that to me is really the intermediate. That's the middle phase where you're like, 2 to 4 years into this for a lot of people. Okay. And so you do career path, or you're good. You've started a company. You've done your own company. How's that? So you know what to do at this point. You know how to make your own procedures. You know what you should. You've already know who you are and what you're good at, and you know what you need to source out, where to do it, and all of that. And if you don't, either way, we'll help you, because that's where we really shine. By the way, we're good clearly at getting people from 0 to 100 because we've done it, but I think where we really are the best is like, hey, let's make this an empire. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people come to us already knowing land and learning from it from other people, which I love and applaud that, and they were successful. But then they hit this point where they're like, now I want to make it an empire. I'm not messing around now. This is what I love. I want to make, 3 million a year. And so they come to us. I'm like, this is where we shine. So now that's the intermediate level, which is, let's do that, and that's fun. And you got money in different areas,
Yep.
and stuff you're not even working on. Like my favorite is deal funding. When you fund somebody else's deals, you might be a sounding board once in a while, but for the most part, they're doing the work. They just needed your dough. Because they're in our group, we're all helping them too. They have resources and they know what to do. They just needed the dough. So that's the intermediate. So before I get to the advanced, did you have some thoughts
So
on that?
are there 4 total?
I have 3.
So what I heard was the
Begin-
engine's idling. That's
Okay,
number
I'm
one.
sorry. There's 4. Yeah, idling, beginner, intermediate, and then I'll get to advanced. So
Okay.
we've done. So this is number 3.
Number 3 is you're 2+ years into this. You're real comfortable doing deals. You worked all the kinks out. You may have some employees, you may not, depending on who you are. And you do a bunch of deals a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's next?
So the next is, now it's, you look around. Next is like the guy. It's kind of funny. I didn't even realize it. Next is, I'm making so much flipping money now. It's getting stupid. And you start looking around. You're thinking about your kids. You're thinking about the final phase for me, the way advanced, is you really can take a step back. You're not doing very many deals at all, but boy, do they count. There's 1 or
Yeah.
2 deals a month because you're
Yep.
involved
I
with
agree.
the top people, and the numbers are just staggering. And you don't care how long it takes. It takes 6 months or a year, whatever it is, because it does at that level. That's okay. You're involved in that stuff, and you're sitting there. For me, the advanced is, if I keep making more money, I'm gonna ruin my kids, which
What
I
do you
love.
mean?
Because you don't want to your kids to be trust fund kids. You know what I'm
Oh.
saying? If you keep, because
You're creating a legacy that's
Yes.
too robust.
that's it. Creating a legacy is
understand.
great. However, careful. But you're just at that level. How do you describe? This is the top.
Well, I think that at the full cycle of this, the life cycle of the Land Academy, to get from 3 to 4, and 4 is the final stage, was very challenging for me, and here's why. I never believed until I was doing it for several years in phase 4 that it was a consistent business model.
Hmm.
There's because I'm a curmudgeon in general. I'm a pessimist, not an optimist. I don't think the next deal is going to come. We sent out a bunch of mail. The mailer went great. Jill created 3 real estate deals. We made a couple $100,000. Well, I guess that's it. I have always had that issue. I've gotten past it now.
This is really true. I'm like, babe, hold on, the phone just rang. Knock it off.
You know, when you're in stage 4, both feet are permanently planted in the 4th stage.
Yeah.
The final part of the life cycle, that the deals just keep happening. You keep sending out mail. You may change where you send mail. The product type you might alter. We do. Jill and I are heavily into buying houses and selling houses right now, in addition to land. And so it's not so much the dollars that you're making, but it's the system. The system's in place. The people are in place. Jill and I know each other's roles. I mean, to the point where, we literally had a conversation about going to a specific part of the country when we're down here, based on the red, green, yellow test that I've been performing in an entire area. And the area spans more than one state. Not the entire state, but certain portions of the state, of multiple states in the same area. So that is stage 4. That's the 4th stage where you realize it's happening.
The
It's
thing
not a
is,
dollar amount anymore.
well, you hit financial goals too.
Yeah, you hit. Yeah.
So that's one of the first things we do in Career Path, and I want to encourage you, because you, especially members, you guys have that equity planner. On your member dashboard, go down to the bottom under resources, the equity planner. There's all these little tabs in there. One's a red, yellow, green test. There's all kinds of great things. But I want you. It's not just for planning out this year and next year. It's for planning out your life and working it backwards. So
Yeah.
you've hit some financial goals, and I was starting to think about that, because we always start Career Path with, what do you want to hit this year? What do you want to hit next year? And when will you be done? I want to know, what is your number? Some people it's 10 million, some people it's 20 million, some people it's 1 million. There's no wrong answer. So when you're at that level too, you either hit that number, or it's really you can see it there in the distance. It's not just an elusive thing. You're like, oh, I see it. It's right there. It's coming up here in however many months. I'm gonna hit that number. And what's funny is, you could stop. Like, we've had people.
Yeah.
I know people in the Land Academy that literally, and I celebrated it. I'm like, dude, you hit your goal. He's like, yeah, I'm done. And some people stop. We again have this problem.
Well, this day right now is a bigger problem for Jill than me.
It's just true. I have a problem with stopping, because I want to keep my mind sharp. So this is the whole thing. So now you're at the top level. You have different concerns. It's not money. Got it. Kids are going to be fine. Got it. I want to maybe give some away, because they don't need that much. Got it. I want to keep my mind sharp. Got it. I want to do some. I truly love it. So really, then it depends on how into it you were. I can see. I've over the years, I have talked to investors who've gotten our letters, who said, you know what? I know exactly what you're doing, and I did this, 2 decades ago in a different way. And, but I can't, they're like, you know what? But when the phone rings and there's a deal, I'm still going to do it. I'm like, that's going to be me. And that is me.
Listen, here's the thing. Jill laid out 4 stages of the life cycle of a Land Academy member, or let's say a land investor in general.
Mm-hmm.
For me, and I've watched people now for almost a decade do this. It's transitioning from 1 to 2, or A to B, B to C. It's the transitions that are tough.
That's good.
So when you start this career, everybody's euphoric. We're all happy. Jack and Jill did it. We've got all these other. I'm going to go to all their calls. I'm going to do all this stuff. Oh, now we got to do a mailer. Oh, I got to do a mailer. Yeah, there's hard work involved. What if I do it wrong? So now we're beginning that difficult transition between 1 and 2. Once you get past it, you've done a mailer. Maybe you screwed up part of a mailer, which is going to happen. You've accepted all that, and you've done your first deal, and you're on your way to doing a few deals a year, which I think is step 2, right?
Yeah, as an intermediate, yes. That's actually kind of 3. I went 0, 1, 2, 3.
That transition is difficult for some people. It was difficult for me. And why? Because you're comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I've got this thing over here. I'm paying my mortgage. Everything's great. I'm doing 4 or 5 deals a year. I believe in the concept. And my wife finally stopped bugging me about it because she thought it was stupid in the
Because I
beginning
bought her a car.
or whatever. And so to ramp that up, you're going to need more resources, more time, and to get more mail out, you're going to have to explore new markets because the ones that you're using currently you're probably hitting them pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And so changing those gears and getting into that higher gear where you're making more money and being rewarded more is hard. It takes a mindset change.
That's good. That's a really important. What's interesting to me also is when you go from you one man show to that next phase, it's hard for people too. They're afraid hiring and taking on staff and giving up some of the control is hard for people also.
Yep.
So I like what you said. Each of these transitions, there's a little bit of a ooh, it's like it is like when you change gears and then it kicks in. They're like, all right, now I got it.
At the ends of this is my opinion. At the very beginning of anything, it's really exciting. I don't care whatever you're doing; it's always new and fun. At the end, it's incredibly rewarding and fun, and you look back and say, "Wow, I got 500 stories about why I didn't think this was going to work." It's the middle that sucks. There's a tremendous amount of work. There's a huge learning curve. There's all kinds of obstacles. There's failures. There's successes. There's self-doubt. There's all kinds of stuff in the middle, and that is where. That's why the funnel's so small at the end, because it weeds out. The funnel's big at the beginning and small at the bottom. In the middle, it's where it weeds everybody out. There's a ton of stuff, not a ton. Several things in my life that I've started and I'll never finish them. And the truth is, the reason I won't finish them is because it just wasn't that important to me.
Mm-hmm.
But making a ton of money and having a blast with Jill in our silver years has always been my first priority, even over raising children. And that was part of it back then. It was the part of the middle, but we've gotten through that and successfully gotten through that, and it's becoming more rewarding as the kids get older. But that was always my goal. My number one goal in life was to hit the silver years and have a blast.
Well, I'd like to say if I have it my way, you'll never see me silver.
Yeah, whatever Jill is.
These are the silver, little beginning. These are the salt and pepper years.
Okay. Salt and pepper decades. All right, I got it. Salt and pepper decades.
Yeah, there's no silver. Not going to happen. I love it. That's good.
At the bottom of this life cycle, and this is a whole point to this episode, I think, is that it doesn't stop. That's what this career is about. You can do this till you're in your 80s.
You can.
Or you can stop when you hit your financial goal.
That's
Make it to fourth gear. You've given yourself now choices. You do not have a lot of choices in first gear at all. In the middle gears, you have a choice. You can go from second to third, and third to fourth if you want to. We have all the resources and the tools to do that.
That's funny. So when you hit that top advance, you hit your goals, you're like, I could be done. But then a lot of people, it's very cool. In Land Academy especially, they're like, well, why would I? I don't have to send out any mail. I just have to hang out in Discord. I can answer people's questions and then pick up a deal now and then. I'll just be the bank for somebody. I can sit back and easily make $100 or so grand a month doing nothing, just being the bank. And it's sitting there anyway.
Being a lender.
Yeah.
Really.
Why wouldn't I do that? So you could deal fund, which is really kind of funny. There's several people that are in Land Academy just for that. Actually, people just came into Land Academy just for that.
We're just having
this group is so smart.
Real specific conversation with a young employee that we have about how tough it is to be in one of the younger generations right now, because you are expected to have whatever it's called, whatever the cool new phrase is called, side gig or passive income or whatever. You're expected to have a couple of W-2 jobs and work at home, work from home, which all of this is, you can't do all this stuff all at once. You got to choose. And then if you don't do it, you feel like crap about yourself, and then it all stops. It's not fair. So you yourself are going to have to figure out, if you're younger, what's really important. And here's the truth. It's a lot of hard work. And so a lot of people out on the internet have taken our business model, our concept, and they have regurgitated it or made it their own, and then talked about it on the internet pretty loudly. As an instructor, as a credible instructor. And but the message that I see when I watch some of this stuff from these people is that they are they are painting a picture that about how easy this is and how
Mm-hmm.
fast it's going to happen and how great it is to buy a piece of land. You never have to go there. You plop down $5,000, you get $10,000 back a couple of weeks later. And why doesn't everybody just do it? And that's just not how this is.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the truth of it. And so they come and go quickly. Instructors come
Mm.
and go. And unfortunately, and this is what upsets me the most, would be future Jack and Jills are turned off by the whole process
I agree.
because you got caught up, and it's not your fault. You just got caught up by the first person on the top of Google when you type in land investing.
And you're like, this didn't work. And you didn't have the
Yeah,
support and the
right.
everything that you needed, the tools to do it right. That breaks my heart.
Jill
I
laid
know
out
that happens
Jill laid out
a
a whole
lot.
life cycle. This is a
Mhm.
lifestyle and a life cycle. She laid it out pretty clearly today, and that's very possible and feasible,
True.
especially for Dalton, who's now after 7 years going to get the mail out, which is
Mhm.
awesome. But that just makes me think he's going to do great
Oh yeah.
because he's in
Well,
it.
well, yeah. It took him that long to make sure, get his life in order. Who knows what else was going on? Just make sure. Maybe finish college. Maybe get this out of the way and save up enough dough to do it right. Whatever it is. And I love when people do their homework. I used to way back in the beginning. All of the calls. Like, we were just a small little operation, and we're still not that big, but because by design. But I took all the sales calls for people wanting to learn about land academy, what we're doing, and and the more people had listened and watched, you just know their questions versus, yeah, I just clicked on this thing and it sounds like I heard I can make this money and this is I want to do this. Well, what do you know about it? Nothing. Okay, this is not gonna work.
What country are you in? New Zealand.
I don't know. But it's just like, yeah, I just, I'm like, yeah, no, let's. And so the first thing I would do would say, let's do this. Here's our podcast. Here's our ebook. Please go spend some time on this stuff. See if it makes sense. Then call me back and we'll talk. So,
Jill, you have something inspirational to share?
I was thinking about what you said, and I liked that about those in between sections where you're like pivoting, like from crazy person in the beginning, especially that one to really going from the beginner to the intermediate. I think I see most people struggle right there. So you're like, okay, I have, you have sticky notes everywhere, but it works. You sort of have a CRM, but it works. You're not, money comes in, money comes out. It's not really managed, not budgeted and things like that, but it works. And you're going, okay, now I can afford to make some different decisions. I need to get this, I need to reel this back in now and like really be more strategic. So, how do you do that? So, my thing is number one, but even before, when you start to see this is working for you and you like it, I always like having people create your own systems, create your own, your SOP, your own, operational procedures, how you do things, how you like them done. So you could be ready to replace yourself because you will. One of the first things that I love and people do is get a transaction coordinator. That's one of the things that just, whew,
Changes your life.
it does. When you can be, especially if you're the deal maker. So, me personally, I'm best on the phone. And then when I hang up the phone, we're buying this for this, we're selling this for this. I need this. I need to find out about this property, and I need this.
Yeah.
That's my best place to
And
be.
then everybody goes and does what they're going to do, and
And comes back.
she picks the phone back up and does another deal.
Exactly.
She's not really working
Open
on it.
escrow, get that done,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. That's the best. So, but I can't just like expect people to know that. So I have to, so at the beginning, I had to do it by myself and make a
Yeah.
procedure until I could then find the right person. That's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother week of shows, hiring. But when you find the right person, or as you're training too, they need to be learning your steps, your procedure, your ways, things like that. So I guess what I'm trying to talk about is just an example of and a way to overcome and transition into that thing. into that next phase. And it is scary. There's so many times too. One of the things I know people get really hung up on is hiring. And I've had people, I'm like, what's the deal? What's the problem? They're like, look, it's one thing. I've had one person in particular really sit me down and say, Jill, it was one thing for me to take a handle on being responsible, solely responsible, not W-2 responsible, for my family and keeping food on the
It's a
table,
hard gear to shift
paying
into.
for all the bills, making sure school and college, that's one thing. But then to take on an employee and to have the stress of being a little worried about their livelihood for their family, like, whew, that's scary. So I get it. And that's why we're here. We will help you. So I don't know if that was really inspirational, but I wanted to share a little bit about that. Your struggles are real.
Don't worry, because mine's less inspirational.
Okay, good. I think mine was a freak out moment. Thanks,
Yes,
Jill.
it
Now I'm
was.
scared. Okay, how about this? I've been there. I've done that, and I will help you.
Look, to move through the
That's it.
4 stages, you're going
That's
to have
why
to
we're
go
here.
through that stuff.
True.
That's my point. And there are a lot of things that should be speed bumps, but end up being brick walls.
Oh.
And one of them is perfect. You just described it. You know,
Wait.
this is somebody talking to themselves. I can't make the transition from having this amazing W-2 job, even though I made 4 times as much money as my W-2 salary last year in land. I just can't make that transition. I understand. That's not. You don't have to kick yourself around for that. That's just how it is. So that's your 4th life cycle. Here's my inspiration. Again, it's probably not inspirational at all. My recommendation to you is, whoever you are and wherever you are in your life or life cycle or in your career, at the beginning or the end or in the middle, sit down with yourself, not with your therapist or your spouse or your drinking buddy, with yourself. Not just in one sitting, but really, maybe every time in the morning when you're brushing your teeth, look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself what you want, what's really important to you, and if you're on track getting it. And if you're not, make some changes. And I said earlier, for me, it was having a life with Jill, raising our kids right, and making a lot of money. And we've passed, probably last year, passed that goal that I've always had, the financial goal that I've had, and we're still doing it. So none of that would have happened at all unless I really was in tune with what I wanted from a career goal standpoint.
Brilliant.
Join us next Wednesday for another interesting episode. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
We are Jack and Jill.
Information
And inspiration.
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you found our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.